So this is a time where we can take questions, and I'm not sure if we'll be able to answer them all, but we have these easels, so I can kind of have a parking lot of questions that we'll do our best. Sabella?
What are the main drivers to establish the network? Is it existing established hubs that saying we need a network, or emerging ones that are saying we need help, or the nascent ones that we feel like would benefit?
I mean, ideally, I think that everyone involved would benefit.
I mean, who's driving?
So far, so the first UEPI, my predecessor at UEPI, Vanessa Zyphon, actually was the first one to convene the Regional Food Hub Advisory Council to start to look into this vision because of a perceived need and sort of a sense that all of these efforts could be, she was sort of seeing the wheel being reinvented all over the place and realizing that, you know, if everyone was talking and connected that was working on these very similar projects, they could be so much stronger. So I think that's sort of the drive behind it and where it's coming from, and then bringing the council together was to really get the input and opinions of a lot of people that are actually involved in regional food hub work to see what they think. And so now as the next step, we're kind of pitching it to a much wider audience.
I just wanted to say, recognizing that there's always things to work out and things to figure out, I really appreciate what you all have done, thinking having participated in the last meeting and hearing all the feedback that we gave and seeing it implemented in the PowerPoint you gave and really the thought and craft around it. So I just want to say thank you for really listening to what feedback we gave at the last meeting.
Good. We really tried to get as much feedback as possible and incorporate it. So good.
Sharon, can we make the PowerPoint at some point available to people? Other than
Yeah.
the presentation that's on the website.
Mm-hmm.
So we have everybody's contact info, so we're ready to put that out there.
I might not be hearing the way it's hearing it the way it's presented. What I'm hearing, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that the network is taking some existing operations and then developing new hubs, all which will be focused to distribute small, mid-sized family farm produce. And it seems to me that there is already a well-established distribution system that has moved into that position of selling small family farmers. We know that some major distributors have programs for picking up local small farm product. And it seems, what I think I'm hearing is that your concept is to develop new distribution systems for local small or regional small family farmers. Is that correct?
So I'm actually really glad that you asked that question because basically, no, that's not correct. And this is a great opportunity to be able to clarify. The idea of the Regional Food Hub Network is not to recreate the distribution system, but instead through the coordinating regional food supplies aspect of it, is to work with whatever is existing, whether that be large-scale distributors or whether it is a neighboring farmer or regional food hub that has an extra truck that happens to be going in a certain direction. The idea is to really just centralize that information so that all of the participating growers can take advantage of it and participate in something that's already happening. And this could increase efficiency even for large distributors. I know we've done some work with Martin Annenberg at Fresh Point, and just sort of talking about how frequently trucks go one direction empty, and kind of thinking about how we could potentially use that as a resource. So the emphasis is really on using something that's already happening and only adding to it when absolutely necessary. Lucille?
It seems to me, to piggyback on what this woman asked, the network actually can't exist until more hubs are established, is that correct? That's what it seems like to me.
I think that, in its fully realized vision form, maybe not. But I think that different parts of it can get off the ground before then, and it can kind of build on various projects, and then kind of make room for more as they come in. So it's kind of laying the groundwork and structure for the regional food hubs to come into as they develop, and also because it is a membership based organization, it will, as more hubs become interested, then it would actually grow the network as well.
I'm curious about the different ends of the scale of who's included as a hub right now. I think early on like this, inclusion is excellent, but I wonder, like, does somebody like the pixie growers, are they envisioning broader, more diverse operations, or are we going to consider that a regional food hub when it's really one crop and kind of cooperative marketing?
I think that the idea is that is a regional food hub. It's not the idea to make each regional food hub exactly the same or become the scale of what, for example, the San Diego growers have envisions. Like, I think that if a group is doing something that works for them, that's fine. And they can kind of get the services and support that they need from the regional food hub, from the network, and also potentially, none of this is set in stone obviously, but potentially membership fees would depend on the types of services that a group is actually getting from the network. So they could use it just to implement their sales, and there's no, and support their buying and selling, but if they're not interested in expanding, I don't think that the idea is to pressure them to do that.
All of your movement of food is based on trucking, which is not a long-term sustainable way to do things. And so I was wondering if you've thought about working with Caltrans to create nodes along the high-speed line where, a more local pickup could then be a node, and then that could get on the main train line to move longer distances.
I think that is an excellent idea. We looked at trucking in the mapping study because that is the status quo. That's how things are being moved right now. I know and this may be a little bit far out there, but in San Diego, I believe, and in Los Angeles, where sites it's in the phase of sites being looked at and identified for potential regional food hub development. I know there's at least one site in both places that are looking at, that are adjacent to rail lines. And that's something that we've been thinking about, because ideally this is something that if we want to get to a place of a more sustainable food system, sustainable society, we want to be looking beyond trucking infrastructure.
There's also the concept of a virtual hub, where the product doesn't actually go to a central place and go back out, but by aligning people and moving it more strategically rather than moving it to one place and then back out to other places. So I don't think it is contingent upon actual trucking. There's the concept of a virtual hub.
And I think that's also another great point, and that would also be potentially part of this coordinating of sales. This doesn't all have to be. While many regional food hubs are aggregating product because their volumes are too small, if that's not necessary, this would also be something that could increase efficiency in that way, so that there's no need to, for example, take products from San Diego up to Santa Monica and sell them at the farmer's market and then go back down to San Diego into restaurants. So we want to avoid things like that.
When you mentioned the terminology inter-brokerage, now is the regional hub acting as an inter-brokerage for all the regions, the regional hub, or is it that the hubs are acting as its own brokerage and facilitating the whole logistic of from packing out to transportation all the way to all the hubs